to see how best you can do it before you release it. And as we talk now, we have started now registering the what we call the agro-dealers. We are calling them agro-dealers.
All right.
There are around 19,000 agro-dealers. And we want to make sure that going forward in future, when you identified a supplier, the supplier will identify agro-dealers which are registered with government, so that the agro-dealers become the last point of sales. And then government will only identify the suppliers to supply fertilizers at the right price. So you know, if we could have released this one without testing, you could have gotten farmers getting fertilizers at a price which the government did not announce, because we are looking at 2,500 per 50 kilogram bags. But you know, if you, at the very initial stages before you test and release, it is good for government to really take charge at this time. But what you are saying is, as we talk now, we put an advert for agro-dealers. Yes, around a month ago, and we are now verifying and vetting agro-dealers, because we also want to make sure that the people doing business for these farmers, especially the agro-dealers, are people with specific good practices, so that we are able to really make sure that as we deploy the national program, it is deployed in a way that the practices, they are good practices all the way to the farmers. Because the farmers have been exploited for long. And I think farmers are happy. At least this government has proven that you can sell fertilizer at 2,500 shillings.
And it's good for us to just highlight some of, the price points, especially for farmers. Right now, DAP, of course, is retailing, the subsidized one is retailing for 3,500 shillings, CAN at 2,875, urea at 3,500 shillings, NPK at 3,275 shillings, MOP at 1,000 shillings, 775, 1,000 shillings, yes, 775, ammonia 2,200, and farmers are entitled to 50 to 100 kilo bags in accordance to, the amount of land that they do have. You did say, Buena PS, that there are local makers who are making this particular, different ranges in accordance to the soil of the farmers. But then you did point out that we are getting a lot of problems when it comes to the importation of fertilizer. What is the balance between local producers and, the imported fertilizer?
Of course, when you look at this program and the government direction, especially plans on promoting the local suppliers, we have really put that one at the center. And when you look at this program, in terms of the engagement, the stakeholders and the suppliers, most of the suppliers who are participating in this program are local suppliers. There are very few big international suppliers, because we made sure that we give chance to the local. So you hear the big story of fertilizers, the colors are funny, they are not meeting the standard. Here they are meeting the standard. It's because the presentation of a locally manufactured fertilizer, which we have given to our local suppliers to build a local industry, it may not look a little bit, so presentable. It looks like it has some things, but in terms of quality, that fertilizer has met all the required qualities and nutrients content. So anyway, I think what you wanted to know is whether the local suppliers are engaged, totally engaged. And you have seen from the fertilizers they have produced. And I want to request the farmers not to reject the fertilizers just because of their presentation. Those are fertilizers from our local suppliers. And they are doing very well. And we need to promote the local suppliers.
You're saying don't judge a book by its cover. Looks might not be the most pleasing, but they work, is what the Principal Secretary is saying. Now, of course, there was a company that was flagged by the Kenya Bureau of Standards, SBL Innovate, for allegedly supplying substandard fertilizer under the brand BLGPC. Which company is this? Just for clarity matters, this is, within your State Department. Which company is this? How exactly did they gain access to farmers within the country?
That is a company. It is under investigation. You'll allow me, let KEBS finish the investigation. Because I think they are on it to check, but it's a local company. It's a story of a local company. Kenyans like to promote local companies. But we cannot say they have, those fertilizers at this point have problems until a thorough investigation and analysis is done by KEBS is when we can talk about it.
Right.
I tell you, fertilizer is a science field.
Right.
So we cannot play with science in an environment of, when we are talking about farmers, and also you play with science in a science field without a lab report. So that is why we are very careful to say, let the report come. Then the government will be in a position to really address that issue conclusively.
Right, but do you, and I think this is what Kenyans really want to know, was there any involvement with the State Department of Agriculture in any of, the supply chain? Because already Kenyans are wondering, has the supply chain for affordable fertilizers been compromised? Should we be worried? We already have, we've stocked up this fertilizer. Would you say that in any way this company was involved with the State Department?
What happened in fertilizer supply and other farm products, before you engage any company or any supplier, you get, first of all, an okay from Kenya Bureau of Standard.
Right.
And that was done. So, but the contractor, the supplier is allowed, based on this license certificate, because what Kenya Bureau of Standard is to give a license for a supplier to manufacture a particular product. Therefore, that supplier will manufacture the product and give what is called, I told you about, certificate of analysis.